The story begins with a man named Hoffman, who enters a restaurant with a tense expression. Soon after, the CEO of Optimo Pharmaceuticals arrives, a man who doesn't even recognize him. The CEO has come to collect a report file. Hoffman explains that, for security reasons, a copy of the file will stay with his representative. If anything happens to him, the representative will deliver it to the authorities. They take a photo together before parting ways. Outside, another man named Ash follows Hoffman. From a taxi behind him, Ash sends instructions, ensuring Hoffman boards the subway safely. Ash is a fixer, acting as Hoffman's representative in this case. Later, Hoffman leaves a voicemail saying the payment has been made and their deal is complete. The next morning, Ash goes to a hidden location, places the Optimo Pharmaceuticals file among other documents, and locks it in a safe. The scene shifts to Sarah, a woman being followed by Dawson. Speaking with an attorney, she explains that she once worked on a team developing genetically modified wheat. During research, she found a food safety report showing dangerous side effects. When she raised her concerns, management dismissed her, saying she had misread the data. Soon after, she was transferred to Manhattan, and 2 months later fired. Now, her former company is harassing and following her, because Sarah kept a copy of the food safety report as evidence. But now, she just wants to return it safely, without being harmed. The attorney gives her a phone number, saying there are people who can help. He doesn't know who they are, only that they will listen and may decide to assist. When Sarah gets home, her car is burned. The next day, she moves into a hotel and calls the number. Back to Ash. He's attending a group therapy session. After returning home, he checks his voicemail. One of the messages is from Sarah, explaining her situation. After listening, Ash starts researching Sarah, her work history, social media, and more. He then calls her back through a relay communication service designed for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Ash types his messages, the operator reads them to Sarah, and Sarah's replies are typed back to Ash. All conversations are strictly confidential. During their conversation, Sarah explains that the wheat side effects were severe. Some people suffered extreme allergic reactions, while others showed possible links to cancer. Her company plans to launch the product worldwide. Thousands could be affected. Sarah wanted to make this public, but after refusing a payoff to stay silent, she now lives in fear. Outside her hotel, a van appears to be watching her. Ash warns her that her calls are likely being tapped. Inside that van, Dawson's team is indeed intercepting her relay calls. They trace them back to the relay service office and show up there, but the service has strict confidentiality rules and keeps no call records. The next day, following Ash's instructions, Sarah goes to a public place and activates a new phone number. She tells Ash that her company is about to be acquired. If this information leaks, the acquisition will collapse, something the company cannot allow. Ash tells her he will help return the documents, but requests a $50,000 advance. He promises the money will be refunded after the deal is complete. Ash explains that over the next few days, Sarah will have to follow a series of unusual instructions. Before each conversation, they will use a passcode. He marks 2 phones with different colored tape, prints several documents, and delivers them to Sarah. One page contains detailed instructions on how to send $50,000 in cash and the company files to Ash. Ash instructs Sarah to fly from New York to Pittsburgh at 10:05 a.m., then continue to Atlanta at 11:50 a.m. He warns her not to carry her personal phone, only the documents, the cash, and the phone marked with red tape. Don't open that phone until you're at the Pittsburgh gate, he says. Dawson's team tails Sarah to the airport. Ash, in disguise, is on the same flight. After landing, he buys a bag and leaves it at Lost and Found under the name Sarah Grant. He then calls Sarah through the relay service and asks where she is. At that moment, a Lost and Found announcement calls for Sarah Grant. Dawson moves immediately. Ash tells Sarah to ignore everything and go to the post office to mail 2 packages. When another announcement for Sarah is made, Dawson runs off in the opposite direction, a diversion planned by Ash. From a distance, Ash photographs them. Dawson realizes the announcements were a setup. One of his operatives, Rossetti, watches Sarah at the post office and retrieves the tracking receipt she threw away. Ash sees everything from afar. Dawson's team concludes that Ash made Sarah send 2 packages, one of which must contain the confidential file. But in reality, Ash has rerouted the delivery address through a mail forwarding system, making the old tracking number useless. Ash retrieves the package from a third post office. Inside it are the cash and the complete file. He then messages the CEO of Sarah's company, saying he has a 311-page food safety report. If they agree to leave his client alone, he will return the file. Ash continues monitoring Sarah from a distance. He also plants a phone in Dawson's van. Soon after, the phone rings, a fake relay call orchestrated by Ash. On the line, Dawson speaks on behalf of Cybo Cementis' CEO. Ash uses the opportunity to warn them to stop following Sarah, or he'll leak the file to every major media outlet. He proposes a deal. The original file will be returned, but he'll keep one secure copy as insurance. However, Ash also demands an additional payment of $500,000 in cash as compensation for the breach of agreement. Dawson has until tomorrow night to comply. Dawson steps out of the van, signals Ash, and drives away according to instructions. Sarah calls Ash to thank him. Ash explains the next steps. After the handover, she must leave the area for a few days for her own safety. He assures her it's not permanent. Sarah asks if she can spend a little time outside the hotel first, and Ash agrees. Ash also sets up a daily check-in rule. Every evening at 6 o'clock, Sarah must leave a voicemail. If something's wrong, she'll say weather. If everything's fine, she'll say all right. The next day, Ash meets Wash, a police officer from his therapy group. Both have struggled with alcoholism and are now sober. Wash has always encouraged Ash to open up more. Meanwhile, Dawson agrees to Ash's deal and sends unmarked cash through the post office, but hides a tracker inside, with a battery that can last 4 to 5 days. With the money in transit, Sarah begins to move more freely, though Ash continues to watch over her from a distance. During one of their lighter calls, Ash recommends a music album. Sarah buys it and plays a track. That small moment creates a sense of intimacy between them. Ash begins checking her social media more often. Until one day, Sarah doesn't leave her usual message. Ash called back. During that call, he pretended to use the relay service again, but this time he faked a direct conversation. Their communication began to move beyond just business matters. Still, Ash warned her to keep their contact to a minimum. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Dawson was still tracking their calls. But Ash had already turned off his phone. Ash changed his appearance and visited a post office with a story. He said he had a mailbox in California, but since he was leaving for work in Europe, he wanted all his packages forwarded to his cousin, Sarah Grant's mailbox. He asked them to send everything through general delivery. Shortly after, Dawson left a voicemail. The money had been delivered, but there was a problem. He insisted that Ash had a 311-page assessment file, whereas the original document totaled 327 pages. Where were the missing 16 pages? He demanded every single one of them. Ash contacted Sarah, saying that Appendix C was missing. Sarah denied it, saying Appendix C contained nothing important and that the pages were still in her possession. Ash warned her that he had told her to follow every instruction carefully, and if she failed, he might not be able to protect her anymore. The threat terrified Sarah. She feared Ash would abandon her. Instead, Ash rushed to Times Square. He instructed Sarah to hide the remaining pages at the very bottom of the Washington Post stack at a particular newsstand. Sarah followed his instructions and left. However, when Ash checked the stack, he found no document. Dawson and his team were there too. Ash called Sarah and learned she had accidentally placed the pages in the wrong pile. The entire operation began to fall apart. Most people would have walked away at that point, but not Ash. He recruited a local beggar to create a commotion near the newsstand. The beggar threw the newspapers into the air in a small performance, and amid the chaos, retrieved the hidden pages from the wrong pile. Dawson chased after the beggar, but the woman managed to hand the document to Ash before anyone could stop her. Ash called Dawson and reminded him of their agreement. He asked if Dawson wanted him to make the file public. Dawson apologized. Ash then set the terms. The handover would be done in person, in a public place chosen by Ash and his people, and both Sarah and the CEO must attend. As a result, all Dawson managed to obtain from Times Square was a video clip where Ash's face wasn't even clearly visible. Ash told Sarah that the meeting would take place on Thursday. Until then, she must call every day and say only one word, whether or all right. No other words, no deviations. If she failed to follow instructions, Ash said they would walk away. Meanwhile, the tracking device batteries hidden inside Dawson's cash package had finally died. At home, Hoffman was collapsing under the weight of guilt for all the people who had died because of his company. He couldn't bear it anymore. He told Ash, "There's blood on my hands." Hoffman said he would not call Ash again. After that, during group therapy, Ash finally opened up. He introduced himself as John and confessed that he was a Muslim. He said that Muslims do not drink alcohol. But after September 11th, life in New York had become unbearable for him. So, he started drinking to fit in. He explained that when people beat him, alcohol made him numb. Later, Ash got a job on Wall Street, but he witnessed many wrong things there. He reported them to his superiors, yet nothing changed. During that time, his drinking worsened. Eventually, someone paid him off and forced him to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Ash accepted the deal in a moment of shock, but he carried the guilt and shame ever since. Hoffman's voicemail the previous night sounded the same, lost and broken. Ash knew Hoffman wasn't going to make it. Wash tried to comfort Ash. After that, Ash prepared for the exchange. He called Sarah and told her that the original copy of the file had arrived at the post office. He said a table had been reserved under the name Adam at a restaurant where Sarah and the CEO would meet. Ash told Dawson every detail of how the night would unfold. However, Sarah never showed up at the restaurant that night and didn't answer Ash's calls. Ash sensed something was wrong. Then Sarah left him a voicemail, saying that Dawson had identified him through facial recognition and now knew his real name was James Caton. Sarah said it was all her fault and that she would do the handover herself. Of course, it was all part of Dawson's trap. Ash ran to rescue Sarah and rushed to the new location Dawson had set, a concert packed with people. Ash searched the crowd and called Sarah, but she didn't answer. He pulled the fire alarm, and the crowd began to pour out. Amid the chaos, he attacked Ryan. He told Sarah the passcode and said, "It's me. This is a trap." Ash got Sarah out of the venue and told her she had to get away immediately. Sarah was confused. They got into a taxi, and Ash kept giving her instructions while Sarah begged him to stop and explain why he was doing all this for her. Ash replied, "It's my job." Sarah said, "Not this far, James." Ash responded, "That's not my name." When Sarah asked who he really was, he quietly answered, "My name is Ashro." They arrived at the train station. Sarah had to continue on her own from there. Before parting, Ash gently touched her hair. Sarah walked toward the train as Ash watched until she was gone. Not long after, Sarah's phone rang. She was already in Dawson's control. Ash threatened to release the document publicly, but Dawson made a counteroffer. He said they would go with Ash to the place where he kept his copy of the document. Once Ash handed over the copy, Dawson would release Sarah and the others. Ash was deeply torn by the offer, because leading Dawson to the secret location would also endanger his other clients and their data. In despair, Ash almost started drinking again. He didn't, but he asked Wash for help. Eventually, he told Dawson, "Fine, I'll do it." The next morning, Ash arrived outside Sarah's apartment. Nearby, Dawson's team was waiting in a van. They stunned Ash, tied his hands, and threw him inside, where Sarah was also restrained. Dawson pointed a gun at her, demanding Ash reveal the location. Ash finally gave it up, but then fought back, throwing Lee out of the van and overpowering Dawson. Suddenly, Sarah stunned him from behind, revealing the truth: she was the real leader. It had all been a setup to retrieve the Optimo Pharmaceuticals file connected to Hoffman. They reached the site, which was locked with a password. Dawson untied Ash to open it, but Ash deliberately entered the wrong code, triggering thick smoke. In the chaos, he escaped, attacked Ryan, and grabbed his gun. Dawson fired at him as Ash ran, only to be struck by a passing car. Wounded but determined, he fled across railway tracks, hiding among containers. Rossetti chased him down, and Ash soon came face to face with Sarah. Both raised their guns. Ash dropped his weapon and said, "Do it." Just then, the police arrived with Wash, arresting everyone. Ash revealed he held documents proving Optimo's products caused dangerous side effects, and that the team tried to steal them. Wash asked why he had them. Ash answered, "It's my job. I help people who've seen things they weren't meant to see." Later, Ash collected a package of money from the post office, kept half, sent the rest to relay workers, then boarded a train and disappeared. Soon after, the truth about Optimo Pharmaceuticals hit the media, and with that the story ends here. Relay 2024 delivers a powerful message about how truth and connection can't exist without vulnerability, no matter how carefully we hide behind technology or false identities. It reminds us that real human relationships depend on honesty, even when deception feels safer.